Hi, friends. Well, it says I'm live, but I'm letting it catch up because I'm still just seeing there we go. Okay, so we are live. Let me make sure that this audio is turned off so we don't get any bad echoes. And then I'm also going to get this pulled up on our phone. I see that we have quite a few people already waiting for us, so that's exciting. Thank you guys for joining me today. I know it's been a while since we've actually done a live. And we will get into that a little bit here in just a minute. So I'm just letting everyone find us, waiting for Heather to jump on. Heather will be moderating in the comments today. Losing my train of thought here. Let me get this pulled up on YouTube so that I don't miss out on anything. Okay, perfect. All right, friends. Well, thank you for joining me today. So lots of people here, seeing lots of friends that I haven't seen in a while. So I'm excited that you guys are here. Lori and Kelly and Diane, Roxanne. Hello, friends. Okay. Hi, Donna and Daniel. Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, I was going to be live on Facebook, and then unfortunately, I had a death in my family, and so I ended up going home to go to attend a funeral that needed to be. So that ended up getting canceled, and then we had Thanksgiving week, which we decided to cancel lives for that week as well. So it's been a while since I've been live. So I'm excited to be here with you guys and chatting. So a couple of weeks ago, I had mentioned in the comments of Heather's live that I was going to show you guys how to do a edge-to-edge shaker card, which are all the rage these days. And so we're going to double back to that. And that is what I'm going to do today. So today there's not a lot of ink blending or stamping or anything like that. It's a lot of die cutting and assembly. But I thought that it would be a fun thing to learn and to show you guys, and kind of getting back into crafting because it's been a while since I have done anything, just because I've been gone. So thank you guys. I appreciate your kind comments. It was my grandma that passed away. She was 95 years old. So still, while very, very sad and devastating, it wasn't unexpected. But it was good to go home for about a week and spend some time with family. I'm actually wearing her necklace today. Okay, friends, so it looks like we got a good amount of people here. Before we get this camera flipped around, let's just go over a couple of things. First off, if you're first time to one of our lives, let us know. We love to welcome you. Once I flip this camera around, I don't see as many comments. So if I miss something, I'm not ignoring you. I just probably didn't see it. Heather is moderating the comments today, and she's really good about catching everything. But if we both happen to miss either a comment or a question, just ask it again because we likely just didn't see it. And then also, we give away a $15 gift card code at the end of every live. So all you have to do to enter for your chance to win is just do what you're doing now. Leave comments in the chat. You can ask questions. You can just comment on what we're doing. You can answer questions of other people that other people have asked. So just do that. This is meant to be like a social fun time as well as crafting. So, and then the other thing that you can do is underneath this video, there is a share button that has like a little arrow. And click on that and you can share it wherever you see fit. You can share it in an email with some crafty friends. You can share it on your Facebook page, or you can share it in a Facebook group as long as they allow it. Just make sure that that is allowable in their rules. And then just come back here and let us know in the chat that you did share it. Finally, before we get this flipped around and get going on our card today, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. We really appreciate that. that helps the reach of the video both when it's live, so right now, and also on the replay. It just helps get the video out there and seen by more people. Okay, friends, I think we are good to go. I think I've gone over all of the logistics. So let me get my phone set up over here and let me get this camera flipped around and we will get going for the day. Okay, all right. Now I am just going to wait for YouTube to catch up because I just want to make sure that everything looks correct. Cindy is asking where she can go to see the past lives. Cindy, we actually have a playlist on our channel called Live Replays, and that's where you can find all of the past YouTube live videos. Now on our Facebook page, if you go under the videos tab, that's where you can see all of the previous replays from our Facebook lives. Okay, friends. So like I said, we're not going to be doing ink blending or anything like that today. We are going to focus on creating an edge-to-edge shaker card. And so, but I wanted to give my background a little something extra. So I've decided to dry emboss it with some stencils first. So I am using the A2 sized layer Sunburst stencils. However, I'm only going to use one of them. So I did attempt to use all three and dry emboss my background, but I did not really particularly love how it turned out. So you could absolutely try it on your own and see what you think. I didn't love it. So I'm going to just take stencil 2. It is the stencil that I prefer the amount of rays on. And this is what we're going to dry emboss our background with today. So when you dry emboss, you just need to make a couple of adjustments with your cutting plates. So I am going to dry emboss on my Gemini Junior today, and I am sorry because this rubber mat is going to mess up my exposure quite a bit, but hopefully once I get everything in place, it will be okay. So what you first want to start out with is a cutting plate. Now, when I'm dry embossing, I have a specific non-cut on cutting plate that I use for dry embossing. I feel like with dry embossing, you want your plates to be nice and straight. And then of course, this is going to go make my exposure go a little crazy, but then you want the rubber mat that comes with your machine. Mine is black. I think the one with the Gemini Junior might now be purple, but I've had my Gemini Junior for a long time. So I think when they initially came out, they were black. So then you want to add your cardstock next. I have already trimmed my cardstock down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then finally, you want to add your stencils onto it. So I'm going to grab a little bit of washi tape. I have found that washi tape sticks a little bit better to that rubber embossing mat. And I do want to stick it down because I don't want to run the risk of the stencil shifting as it goes through my machine here in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and grab these washi tape and just tape it down to the mat on 2 sides. And then finally, what you want to do, so I have my cutting mats taped together, but I have one that I broke apart so that I can pull the magnet out, because when you're embossing, you don't need the magnet. So it's just the plastic shim and a cutting plate. Now this is for a Gemini Junior, as I mentioned. If you're using a different cutting machine, you will just want to either Google or look at your embossing sandwich, and you might need to make a couple of adjustments. And now I'm just going to go ahead and run it through my Gemini Junior. Okay, so then we can take a look at what it looks like. Now it's subtle, which is super fun. I love how it turned out. I and it's going to play off of my sentiment a little bit. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to actually just get some stuff put away, because if you know me, you know that I like to put things away. So Paul Peterson asked, no need to mist the paper first, and I didn't need to. I don't think I've ever even thought about misting the paper, and it worked just fine for me without doing it. So I guess kind of up to you if you feel like you need to do that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and slip my magnet back in, because we are going to be die cutting here again in a second. Okay, so there is our embossed background. Now this is going to become our edge-to-edge shaker. So let's go ahead and let's actually just get our shaker window put together. So what you need is some double-sided tape. You can use whatever. I am going to use this thin 1/8 inch score tape. And then this is just some clear packaging that I had left over, probably just from some product that I either used up or pulled out and put into something different. And so what you want to do is you want to cut the packaging so it's a little bit bigger on each side from your card base. So I'm going to grab out my little travel trimmer here. Oops. I'm looking in the wrong drawer here. Okay. And so I know that this is 5.5 inches long here. So I am going to cut this down to about 6, just to give me enough room on each side for folding over. So this is a great use of packaging. So you're not just throwing it away. That's probably my favorite part about it. I hate adding a bunch of additional plastic into landfills. So this is just such a great way to use up your packaging. Now, I'm not under any assumption that it might not one day end up in a landfill, because I don't think people keep cards forever, but at least you're doing something. And then what you want to do is just add some score tape to the back of your card. And you just want to make sure that you have it close enough to the edge so that when you go to fold the package over, the package will be able to stick. So then go ahead and find the best side of your packaging. And we're going to go ahead and we are going to adhere it on 3 sides. So you don't want to adhere all of the sides yet, just 3. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the release paper from 3 sides. And fold it over. Okay. Thanks, Sharon. I'm glad you are excited about this clear shaker. That one I got a little off, but I think it will be okay when all is said and done. Okay, so you're going to notice you have these weird little extra pieces of plastic. I have found that actually it's easier to you can just trim those off. And then you don't run the risk of those kind of clumping up or showing in your card. So I'll cut the rest off later. But so now you'll see we have this little window, and you would think, man, that's really on there. That's not going to seal over and hold much, but I promise you, once we put stuff in there, it is actually really, really cool. Okay. So you absolutely could do this card with a standard shaker, because I am also going to put a window on it. But what I have found is I actually prefer this edge-to-edge shaker technique, I actually find it's easier than the traditional technique of like cutting down acetate and gluing it to a window and putting foam tape and stuff around that. So this is just another version of a shaker that I'm excited about. One, because it uses up the packaging. I do try to take pretty good care of all of my packaging just for this purpose. You might, you probably can't use all of your packaging, but I think this came off of like some paper. And then, so it didn't get too banged up. Okay, so let's go ahead and make our own shaker mix now as well. So I am going to be using this cute peppermint twist or peppermint circle from the Holiday Magic chipboard frames in my sentiment. So I am actually going to pull colors from it to make my jeweled shaker mix. So what we're going to need for that is this little guy first and some jewels in all of the colors that match. So we don't have a red, but we do have bubblegum, and to me that is a close enough match. And I went a little crazy on that. Now I am going to try to pick out the large jewels because I don't really want those big jewels in my shaker mix. If I miss a couple, that's okay. I'm not going to worry about it, but I'm going to certainly try to avoid any of the large jewels going in there. Now, keep in mind, this is a pretty big area to fill. So you're probably going to want quite a bit of shaker mix. So if you don't want to use, your precious jewels on this, you certainly could fill it with sequins or glitter. But I think that this will be super fun. A super fun mixture to create. I think someone asked where if I embossed the background, and I sure did. I dry embossed it with a stencil. So this video will be available on replay, pretty much almost immediately after it's over. So you can definitely catch it again. Now, I don't use the green very often, so there is a lot of large jewels in this one. So I'm going to just go ahead and pick it up this way so that I don't get all of those big jewels in here. Sharon, this is a really great way to use some of the color of jewels that maybe you don't use very often. Like I don't really ever use the green jewels. So it's kind of a perfect time and a perfect use for those greens. Okay, that should probably be enough for my shaker card. So we're going to take this one step further though before we get going. I am going to dump all of these into an envelope. Go like that. And then I am actually going to like get a little bit of air in there. Hold on. Okay. And then we're going to get them all shaken together so that the colors will be all mixed in there. All right, perfect. Okay, friends, so we have, maybe if I can get it undone. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back in my little jewel carrier thing here. Jewel tray, I think that's what they're called. Okay, so then friends, we're going to go ahead and we're going to dump it into our shaker. And yeah, I'm going to dump it all. I know that probably seems like a lot, but watch this. Once we take the release paper off the back, and we fold this over. Now, I did not leave very much packaging on this side. I think I might have cut it a little close, but I think it's still going to be okay. Someone said Danielle Diaz is not feeling very good, so I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm glad you are able to watch this. And then look at how fun that is. Now, this is nowhere near finished yet, but I wanted to show you guys that fun technique with all of those jewels. Now, someone mentioned putting a note in the card and letting the person know to not throw away the jewels if they want to throw away the card. And that's smart. That would probably be a good idea. So then you have your very subtle embossed background in there. You've got all of your fun jewels, all of that. So Tina, I just use packaging off of products. I don't buy plastic packaging specifically for this technique. The reason for that I love this technique so much is that it uses up packaging, so you're not just tossing it in the garbage. So I'm pretty sure that this packaging came from like a pack of papers. And then finally, the little envelope, I'm not sure. I think I might have picked them up at like a Michael's. I have a ton of them and I just use them over and over again when I have things I need to put little things in. So, okay, friends, so we've got that. So let's go ahead and make a fun frame for our shaker, our edge-to-edge shaker as well. And that is where our new essentials dies are going to come into play. So we've got blanket stitched and folk edge. So I'm actually going to focus on the blanket stitched design, but we're going to use one of the dies from the folk edge that doesn't have the design on it to help make a window. So we are going to use the largest blanket stitched rectangle. Yes, actually, so I did want to mention something that Sharon just mentioned. This technique with the edge-to-edge shaker pouches isn't going to work real well with just standard acetate because that is just much too heavyweight. It's not going to be easy to fold over and adhere to your back. That's where packaging comes in handy because packaging is much lower weight and it's more malleable. So this would be a really hard technique to do with just acetate because acetate is much heavier and it's much thicker than packaging is. So I'm glad Sharon brought that up because that is definitely something I should have pointed out. Okay, so let's go ahead and make our shaker frame. So I was not thinking, and I already cut out my cardstock to the correct size. So I'm going to have to line it up with the die. And I always find that a little bit fussy, but I'll just go ahead and tape it and hopefully it will work fine. Okay. Actually, line that up better because it kind of moved on me. Barbara, I've made quite a few cards now with packaging and I haven't had any issues with it tearing. So hopefully that will give you a little bit of peace of mind if you want to try this out. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just run this through my machine real quick. Melissa is asking things that come with packaging like this. I actually have a perfect example right here. So things like our scrapbooking product comes in these clear packages. And while it's thin, I haven't ever had an issue creating these edge-to-edge shakers with it. So hopefully that helps you. So most things like, like specialty papers will come in clear packaging like this. All of our scrapbooking product comes in clear packages like this, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we have the start of our frame that we're going to add to the front of our shaker card. So this is where the other die set comes into play. Now, you could have made a much larger frame and used the bigger, or excuse me, I'm losing my train of thought. And you could have used the next size down, but I did not really want all of that excess cardstock. I wanted my frame to be a little bit thinner. So we're going to go ahead and grab the folk edge rectangles, but we are going to grab that second die, which does not have an edge to it. And what I love about these sets is you can use them interchangeably like this, and then you can create these beautiful frames. So all I'm doing is I'm lining this up with the blanket stitched edge so that it doesn't overlap and cut any of that blanket stitched edge off. I may need to grab, yeah, these aren't very sticky, so I'm going to grab some new pieces of tape here. Lori, I'm glad to hear that you love the stickers you recently ordered. That's fantastic. And Daniel, I'm happy to hear that you're on the mend, but I am very sorry that you had to go through that tough medical procedure. Oh yeah, Heather, that's a good one too, is those clear sleeves that we put our cards in. Those would actually work for this technique perfectly. And then they're actually kind of perfectly sized. So that's absolutely another perfect option for creating these cards. Okay, I got that die lined up. I'm going to run it through my machine real quick. Kira is funny. She's just posted that she's gonna run to her garbage can to pull out all the clear packaging. Ooh, that happened. Okay, guys, I may have to redo this frame because unfortunately the tape pulled it up. So that's okay. We are going to just grab another piece of white cardstock. We have plenty of time today because this card is not super technique heavy. So let me just grab another piece of cardstock really quickly. And actually this time, I think I am not going to turn it down so much. Where did I put it? Oh, there it is. And we will just do it again. And then I actually might show you guys another way to do this. So here I'm going to grab both the frame, both dies to make the frame. And what I'm going to do now this time is I'm just going to do it all together. So it kind of clips right in there. Maybe not. Actually, I'm not going to be able to because it does not clip right in there. All right, well, I promise we will get this right, but that did not work. So let's do this one more time and get a better frame. Okay, and this time I will make sure that I don't get tape on my frame because that did not turn out right. Okay, so let's try this again. Now, oh, and I should mention that. So Heather actually isn't linking to products. She's just taking care of comments and chatting with everyone because I put all of the links to the products we're using today in the video description. So you can easily access all of the products I'm using right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's glue it on the inside this time because I don't really care if the tape pulls up stuff that is not going to be on my frame. So let's try this one more time. Okay. Time, all should be good. There we go. Yay. All right. And then of course, this time it didn't, probably won't pull up any. Oh yeah, it kind of is. Yeah, I'll worry about that later. Okay, so let's get these Essentials dies put away because I don't need them anymore. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and grab some thin foam tape and get it put along the edges of our shaker card. Okay. Let's see here. So, Sharon, the blanket stitched edge actually do look really beautiful inked up. I'm not doing that on this one, of course, but I think there might be some samples in from the release that show it, but they do actually look really nice, all inked up, and you get that nice kind of pulling of the ink where the blanket stitches are. Okay. Here. Looks like some people have some of these new essentials are on their way to them or will be on their way to them soon, which is exciting. Okay. There is our fun frame, and that is going to just frame up our fun shaker. So let's start and doing a little bit of assembly of our card before we move on to getting the sentiment all finished up. So I have just a standard A2 size card base here. And I'm just going to put some tape runner directly on it. That gives me a little bit of time to make sure that I'm adhering the, pardon me, the actual window down well enough. Okay. So this is edge to edge. So I'm just going to take a little bit of time to line the background up to the back of the card. And then I'm going to flip it over and I'm really going to rub it on the inside. The thin foam tape that I'm using is just generic foam tape I get on Amazon. So if you just, I think I searched thin foam strips or something like that on Amazon and I found them, and they're not branded or anything, and they're nice and affordable. Okay, so we got our fun shaker window there. Now let's go ahead and attach our frame. And my husband is just arriving home from work, so if my dogs get a little loud or unruly, that is the reason why, and hopefully they will calm down quickly. All right, so let's go ahead and very carefully adhere down the frame to the front. Okay. There's our fun frame. And as you can see, even though you're using a plastic envelope that you created, the shaker bits still totally shake, which is super fun. There's my little Cocker Spaniel. She's excited to see my husband. All right, so there we have it. So let's go ahead and get going on our sentiment. So I did a little bit of pre-die cutting for the sentiment. I probably could have left it, but I did go ahead and pre-do some die cutting because I wasn't sure how long this would take to show you guys. But I'm using a combination of the Leah's Ornate Uppercase dies and this cute little pinwheel, whatever those are called, as my sentiment. So I cut out the words J and Y from white cardstock a few times and also from gold pearl paper. And I stacked and adhered them together. So the cool thing about these, if you are not familiar with our Leah's Ornate and the Heather alphas, is they have the inside letter, of course, but they also have this great thin outline. And that is how I have that white outline around my gold letter. And I don't use the outline every single time, but sometimes it's just nice having that additional added detail for your card. Alrighty, so those are the Leah's Ornate Uppercase. As I mentioned, everything is linked in the video description that I used on my card today. All Pinkfresh products anyway. So I've got the J and the O, or excuse me, the J and the Y, and then the pinwheel is going to make my O. I am going to pop the pinwheel up with a little bit of foam tape. So I'm going to go ahead and get that foam tape ready. Maybe if I can find it. Here it is. All right, so I've got my big, huge roll of foam tape here. We're just going to put a piece in the middle, and then it will pop up from the J and the Y, which is exactly what I want it to do. And I'm just going to adhere this directly onto that shaker window that I made with the packaging. And it will adhere down perfectly fine. I will use liquid glue because that will give me a little bit of time to, just in case they need to be moved around a little bit. But they will still adhere down nice and strong once it dries. Yeah, that's the Ina Alpha Sharon, and I know that a lot of the items are currently out of stock on that one, but rest assured it's on reorder. So whenever that reorder gets here, they'll be back in stock. Okay, so I'm just going to put a few dots here and there on the Y. Okay, and I'm going to tuck it slightly under. Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and do the same thing on the J. Okay. And you might have noticed that you probably can't tell in the video, but a little bit of that glue did seep a little bit underneath my letter, but I'm not too worried about it because it dries clear. And in the end, I don't think anyone will really notice. And if they do, as we say, it is handmade, not Hallmark, and it's okay if there are little imperfections here and there. Okay. There is the J. Oh, Sharon, definitely. It would be really beautiful to stamp snowflakes onto the clear packaging. Yeah, I think you would definitely have to use that white StazOn ink. I think that's the only ink that will actually stamp to acetate and clear packaging. All right. I think there was a question about ink, but I missed it. So Cindy, the ink cubes hopefully will be in any time now. We're just waiting on them to arrive. Okay, so there we have that. Now I'm trying to decide. I think I want the red at the top on my cute little pinwheel. So there is the start of our sentiment. Okay, so I actually think I want to add a little white jewel to the center. I have to find my white jewels. I want it to be a big one. So this is our glacier jewels, and I'm just going to grab Okay. All right, let's get a little jewel picker. Let's add a little bit of glue to the center. And let's put, whoa, that's a little off center. There we go. Perfect. Foiling on packaging, Laura, I haven't tried that on packaging. I've foiled on acetate and it's a little finicky, but you definitely can do it. But I haven't thought about doing it on packaging. So look at how fun this is so far. I just have one more little sentiment step I want to take on my card. So I love a secondary sentiment. So we're gonna grab the Thrill of Hope stamp set. And we've got this great little sentiment that says from our home to yours. And I think I want to heat emboss it on white, in white to maybe like an aqua color and just put it underneath the sentiment in a thin strip. So let's go ahead and find the right shade of aqua. However, in my little I think that might be perfect. And I think it's long enough. All right. Nice little scrap of cardstock there. So let's go ahead and grab our little mini Misty here. Okay. And that is not cut super straight, but that's okay. I can cut it. I can trim it down afterwards. So let's go ahead. Oh, sorry, that was loud. Go ahead and prep that cardstock real quick with a powder tool. And then I'm going to go ahead and just adhere it to the top here. All right. And I did not prep for this part very well because I forgot to grab out all of my embossing stuff. So bear with me for a second here while I grab it all. All right. And then I'm going to ink the stamp up a few times. Sorry, that was off camera. Ink the stamp up a few times. I always feel like the embossing powder makes it so you need to stamp a few times because it just doesn't stamp through that, not embossing powder, but the powder tool to help keep your stuff from sticking to multiple places you don't want it to stick. I always feel like it makes it a little bit harder for that ink to adhere down. So I like to stamp it a few times. That looks like a pretty good impression there. So let's go ahead and grab a piece of paper. That's sticky. Where does my papers go that I normally use here? There they are. Hopefully this stamped well enough. Sure did. Perfect. And we'll go ahead and heat set it. Thanks, guys. I'm glad you're liking the pinwheel in the middle. I thought that was a fun touch. I'm just going to let this heat up for a second. Okay. Heat set that. Okay. So there is a cute little sentiment. Get that put away so I don't lose it. We'll go ahead and trim that guy down. into a pretty thin strip here. Actually, I feel like I need to trim just a small amount off the top. No. Might be able to do that with some scissors. Okay, actually it's fine just the way it is. Okay. So we have, Sharon, I think no matter what, embossing is just going to warp your paper a little bit in general. If you get something that is really, really warpy and it is not working out for your project, some things that I do, you can heat set from the back, and sometimes that helps. I find that takes so long though, and I get a little impatient. If you have something that is super warpy, you can actually, what I've done in the past is take in that piece that's warpy. So let's say I heat embossed on here on this side. So I would flip it over, give it just a light spritz of water, and then put it in between two clean, never used before cutting plates, and then put something heavy on it. Like a lot of times I will actually put it underneath my die cut machine and just let it sit there for 5 minutes or so, 5 to 10 minutes. And then typically once I take it out, the panel is less warped or not warped at all anymore. So that might help, because I know that I get impatient with heat setting from the underneath. Okay, so we're just going to add a little bit of foam underneath that secondary sentiment. And we're just going to add it to our card here. Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to get this lined up underneath that sentiment here. Whoa, 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 whoa. All right. So there is our fun sticker card. And I know in video that fun embossed background is not easy to see, but it's definitely there, and it's more prevalent in real life than it is on the actual card. I do wish I had some red jewels, but I don't. So this color mix ended up working out just fine. Red would have been a fun touch in there, but. And that is my card today. That is an edge-to-edge shaker card. Super easy. I find these so much easier to create than the traditional shaker cards. So if you find yourself struggling with creating shaker cards, may I suggest trying this version out, because it's super easy, and even better, it uses up some of that clear packaging so it doesn't go directly into the trash. So that is my whole card for today. We're done with about 10 minutes extra, but that's okay. At least we got it all done in time. And if you guys have any questions at all, I'm going to get the camera flipped around, and I can answer some questions now that I am looking a little bit closer at the comments. Now, sending these are a bit thicker, so you might want to send them in like a padded envelope, or you could add just a little bit of like a cardstock shim almost to the front and still put it in an envelope, but you will need to add a non-machinable stamp to it. All right, so let me get the camera flipped around real quick. And we will let you go once we have the winner picked. Carol is asking me what the name of the middle jewel is, and I'm assuming you mean in the middle of the peppermint swirl, pinwheel. And it is just from it's from the same mix that I used for the shaker mix, our Essentials Jewels mix. It's the white or the glacier color. So you can get them in both the full kit, but you can also get them in the refill, which I think I've misplaced at this point. Oh, right here. But you can also get them in the little refill pouches as well. I'm not sure if it's in stock, but it is the Jewels mix. Okay, looks like we have our winner. Today's $15 gift card winner is K-Furnish, so congratulations. All you have to do to claim your gift card is email me. My email is leah@pinkfreshstudio.com. There's no H on the end of my name, so it's just LEA@pinkfreshstudio.com. And then just give me about 2 to 3 days to get back to you. So congratulations. And no worries to everyone that was late. This will be available for replay not long after the live is over. Okay, friends, that's everything I have for you. I hope you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving week and weekend. Hopefully you placed some fun orders with our holiday sale. And then finally, let's go over this week's lives a little bit. So Heather will be live at 12 o'clock or 12 noon Central Time on Thursday on Facebook. I believe we have a scrapbooking live on Friday here on YouTube with Natalie. That is also at noon. Oh, thank you, Lori. That's very kind. And then we have our final episode of Craft Hour with Jeff Lindbergh on Saturday at 11 a.m. Central Time. I don't know that we are sharing who our guest is yet, but it is a guest that we have had mentioned quite a few times that you guys have wanted to see. So we're excited that she will be joining us. There's a little tidbit for you that the guest joining Jeff is a female crafter, and she's on our team. So I'll also give you that little tidbit of info. So be on the lookout on our Instagram stories for when we reveal who the final guest is for our final episode of Craft Hour in 2021. All right, friends, that is everything I have. Charlotte's asking me if there's a discount code, and no, we don't have any discount codes. Currently, our holiday discount code ended last night at 11:59 p.m. Okay, friends, thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you had fun creating an edge-to-edge shaker. I can't wait to see yours. I find them super fun. And other than that, I will see you in the comments on Thursday's Facebook Live with Heather. Talk to you later. Bye.